Remember in the last video where I said not a lot had changed? Well, I kinda lied. Deus Ex Invisible War is seen by many to be the prodigal son of the Deus Ex franchise. It went out, got drunk, lost its keys, so now it's kinda drunk dialing you from a payphone at 1 in the morning and you're just sitting there trying to just understand what it's trying to say. Or that's what many Deus Ex fans would have you believe. Case in point, this Steam review that says so eloquently, no. Brilliant. So, let's see if this game is as bad as everyone says it is. This is Deus Ex Invisible War. Deus Ex Invisible War starts off 20 years after the events of the first game, where all the endings actually occurred, so it retroactively kind of made your actions in the first game irrelevant. No matter what you did, the world was kind of still going to end up at this point. The first game made a point of not showing you really the aftermath of your actions, so you could still make an argument that this choice is the best for mankind or bad for mankind. But that's the connection between the last game and this game, so let's just pretend that Deus Ex 1 didn't occur. We'll get back to it later. Deus Ex Invisible War was released in 2003, so now a lot of its actions in this game has a new context. And well, that's kind of apparent from the beginning. In this intro, mysterious people start talking vaguely, and then they immediately show you what's actually going on. It shows that a terrorist attack on your home city of Chicago, so you relocate to Seattle, where the same terrorist group attacks the elite spy school that you were staying at. And you learn that there's something more going on at your school than you previously believed. Turned out that the terrorists that attacked your school were a splinter faction of this New World Order religion, or something like that, I don't know. So you get out into the world with more questions than answers, and then you're given two objectives to meet with the two major factions of the game. The WTO, or basically the World Trade Organization, that's what it stands for, is the closest that this game gets to a governmental authority in this game. Their opposing faction is the aforementioned Order. Now the game opens up as you choose to do missions for either group up until the very end of the game.
The intellectual property has been secured and will be analyzed by our experts. Well done. We will have another mission for you.
Oh, you shot a bunch of our members. Oh, here, still go on a mission for us. It just really doesn't make sense.
At least one trainee besides me reported to the authorities. Have you seen Leo?
The game continues to have conspiracies, albeit it's less paranoid. Religious extremists, terrorism, class disparity, the World Trade Organization, and body modification. The first game had the paranoias of a turn-of-the-century world. Invisible War is more about the fears of a post-9/11 world. The first Deus Ex at times had characters stand on their soapboxes to quote philosophy, but there's very little of it here. Everything is less blunt. The story a bit more mature. Only in that there isn't really any of that humor that was in the first game, though the ragdoll system in Invisible War causes for some humorous moments. Overall, the story of this one is told pretty well, with as its twists and turns kept me playing through it the first time. Though the second time I played this game for this review, I really had problems with the gameplay. When you first get your hands on the game, you immediately notice something's different. The HUD. And then it dawns on you like a bottle of Dawn attached to the Dawn space probe at sunrise being witnessed by a person named Dawn, while the album The Dawn is played by the band The Dawn is being played in the background. Note to self, come up with better analogies. Anyways, if it wasn't apparent that this game was consoleized, well, it was. Everybody run for the hills, oh my god, it's a monster, what, no, okay, we're over that. But anyways, the depth that the inventory system had is somewhat gone now. You still have to manage an inventory, but now a pistol takes up the same amount of space as a shotgun. So you might think to yourself, well, you might incentivize people to carry more powerful weapons. Well, not really, buddy. It's actually, first of all, every weapon has a secondary function. From the ever so useful flashlight to the smoke bomb on a shotgun. You might stick to a weapon that has a secondary function that you would use. Additionally, this game has that infamous system of universal ammo. So basically your pistol uses the same ammo as your flamethrower. Yeah, it makes no sense. But they balance it by having powerful weapons use a lot more ammo. The problem is, though, is that you can't really tell how many shots you have. You're just given a bar, and that doesn't really tell you numerically how many times you could shoot. Many times throughout this game, I'm just using a sniper rifle, pulling off 360 no-scopes because, you know, I'm antisocial and I like picking people from afar, and this is my phase montage, please hire me, whatnot. I don't know. I want to get recruited, I guess. This takes up a lot of ammo, so you tend to get this sound plot. Then you can't even switch to a different weapon like the pistol because you used up all the ammo on the sniper rifle. So your only options are to sneak now or try your luck with the terrible melee hit detection in this game. Speaking of the sneaking, stealth is still broken. Your main methods of non-lethal takedowns in this game are bolt caster darts and the electro probe. We already talked about the terrible melee hit detection, but the sleeping darts should knock someone out if you hit them in the head. Metal Gear Solid had this right, but you know, this game for some reason still has them. At least they don't run around like a crazy person, but still they just stand there saying, "Ow, that hurts." And they took away the lean button, which is critical in any stealth-based first-person shooting. The only way you could really do any stealth in here is using the invisibility cloak, which uses up a lot of your energy, so it leaves you with less options. Skills are now gone, so now you're a god with every single weapon you find in this game, though upgrading your weapon proficiency would make sense in this game because you're a trainee. But anyways, I digress. Augmentations are now called body mods, just like in the previous game. These augmentations are limited by body part, but there are less of them in the game. So in an RPG, that means less options for making different characters. Also, the AI is terrible. The one improvement in the gameplay that the first one didn't really do as well was the weapon mods. In the first one, you could put most mods on most weapons over and over and over again. You really weren't really sure if you were doing anything. The laser sight was kind of just this really tiny dot, so I thought that I didn't install it, and so I kept on. I'm stupid, apparently. In Invisible War, you need to make the choice of what mods you want for your weapons, because you can only choose 2 per weapon. So you have to specialize your weapons. The biggest problem with the gameplay is the environment. So part of the consoleization, Ion Storm had to make the map smaller, so you don't really get these intricate environments that the original had. And when it did have to load, and it wasn't that long. It would take you out of the game. Straight up. But in this one, you go anywhere. The game has to load. Come out of the loading screen, take a couple steps, then open the door, then boom, loading screen. And for some reason, I don't know why, but it boots you out of the game. I tried this on like 3 different other computers, and it still did the same thing. And how do I know that it's actually booting you out of the game instead of just showing you the desktop and tabbing out or whatnot? Well, Steam says so. It says that for a moment it flashes, "Oh, I'm not running the game anymore." It just freaks me out for some reason. I don't know. The loading screens were really something that was one of the biggest things keeping me from playing this game. The animations are also something lacking. For some reason, in this game, the female characters fold their arms and sway side to side. So you're having a very important conversation, really intense, and, well, the person you're talking to folds their arms and swings side to side. It's like, what the heck? What? And pay attention to me, the words I'm saying. It's so annoying. I'm currently using a widescreen mod to change the aspect ratio to something better modern screen, and also an HD textures mod, but still, the original textures don't look too bad. It's no Metal Gear Solid 2 or 3, but hey, it's pretty good, and the shadows are something that you really don't see anymore. Invisible War isn't really a bad game per se, it's just a mediocre Deus Ex game. The game feels more restrictive and not as open as the first one. The distance in the future really alienates the player. The game seems to be caught up a lot in the fiction that it has created. The biggest problem with the game is that it's a sequel for one of the most beloved PC games of all time. Of course, they couldn't follow it up. When Harvey Specter and crew made the original game, they made a game that they wanted to play. With Invisible War, well, Specter wanted to make a game that was more streamlined and that more people could play, is open to everyone. Invisible War isn't the horrible dumpster fire that fans claim it to be, but I find it easier to recommend. It's not as good as the original. By far, it's not. But it's more palatable. Though the hate machine existed even then, and people made a really big stink about this game. And the series went kind of silent for about 8 years, and through the ashes of its previous publisher, well, something amazing came out of it. Also, I hate this game because the character on the front of the box and the male character model kind of looks like a member of the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or something. So yeah, 0 out of 10 IGN.